In this session, we are going to talk about how we can use two of the most important features of Tableau, which is the quick table and performing some custom calculation. Let's all understand the fact that whenever we are creating a dashboard, the intention is that we have to convey a unified message of the data. But many a times that unified message will come with the data that is coming from various different data sources. The sources of data could be many. They all have to work together. We have to ensure that all the data is moving together and it is consistent with one another. Then only we are getting the big picture. So because of that reason, many a times we may not be interested in looking at the raw data as it is. Probably if I say I'm not interested in looking at the sales probably in millions or the dollar number. I may be interested in looking at the percentage. Okay, how much came from region 1, how much came from region 2 and so on. So I may be interested more in that kind of a relationship, right? So I may be interested in percentage, or in some cases I may be even interested in the difference. How much was the difference from the last year to this year? So which means there is a need for doing some simple and quick calculations from the raw data and get a decent presentation of the same. And coming to Tableau, those are handled through what are called as table calculations, which are very easy, and lot of those kind of calculations are provided by default by the Tableau interface. And they are quick to create, they are very powerful, they make you understand the data in a much better manner. And as one of the important characteristics of the dashboard, I have to use the space in a very small and optimistic manner. So how can I really use these table calculations to optimize on that space along with retaining the meaning in my data in a much more appropriate form? That is something which we are going to look at. So here I thought we'll take the same example which we have used earlier, which was to deal with the internet sales. We had almost 60,000 plus records, right, catering to different kinds of customers. So we had a customer database, right, and now we are going to introduce you to the geography database as well. The geography database is linked to the internet sales as well as to the customer, because in the customer database we have seen that what is the geography to which this customer belongs to. So based on this I'll get a clarity on, so there is a geography code or something here, key. Based on this key I'll try to identify what is the geography the customer belongs to. And when we done the internet sale here, we have mapped it to the customer. So this is a kind of a triangular relationship. The internet sales, it is done to a customer, customer belongs to a particular geography. Now I really want to find out geography wise what is the kind of sales that have occurred. What is the amount of sales that have occurred? This is a very interesting relationship. Here the geography key is the primary key, which is used as a part of the customer, to which geography he belongs to. Similarly, here the customer key is a primary key which is used in the internet sales, to which customer it has been sold. So these two kind of relationships, if I am able to depict, I should be able to do an analysis with respect to how much sales happened with each geography. So this is what we'll try to take up as a part of our data. So let's first import these three data sets, and based on that let's go ahead with our analysis. So here I'm taking a new data source where I am connecting to Excel. So I'm bringing in the customer. Fine. This is my customer containing a quick look at this is my customer key, the geography to which the customer belongs to, right? The first name, middle name, last name, then birth date, marital status, gender, email address, yearly income, total children, education, occupation, number of cars, etc. Few things. Then I'll also pull in another data source, right? I can also pull in a new data source which is the geography. Okay, so it is talking about the geography key, the city, province, province code, province name, country, country code, country name, the postal code, sales territory number and IP address. Similarly, I would also get the sales sheet. So we have another Excel sheet which is internet sales. So these are the three Excel sheets which I wanted to link. So once I have gotten all the three sheets, I have to define the links. As we have seen in this, one linkage is now the primary key. There are two primary keys here. One is the customer key coming from the customer table. I have to link it with the internet sales data source where there is a customer key. Similarly, we have a geography key coming from geography table which has to be linked with the geography key coming in the customer table. See, by default, Tableau tries to identify some of the relationships based on the parameters, based on the names of the fields. But whether that relationship is right or not, we have to assess it from our side. So if we have a clarity on the primary key which is unique in that particular table and which is referenced in other tables, I have to build these kind of relationships quickly. So the first, we'll try to build these two relationships to start with. So I go to this data, I say edit relation. Okay, from the customer, which is the primary data source is the customer, internet sales is the secondary. So in this, they are connected by customer key, no issues. But from customer to geography, this is not the linkage. It should be from geography to customer. So let me not keep this linkage. Let me go to custom and simply remove this linkage. Right? So here I'll put geography. Now geography to customer, I'll add this relation. The geography should be here. It has to be linked to the geography here. So from geography to customer, I have built a relation. And what about geography to internet sales? I don't want any. There is nothing unique between in the geography which has to be referenced in the internet sale. So I'll simply remove this. So sometimes we have to look at what the default relationships which Tableau has built for us regarding the usage and accordingly make the necessary modifications. Now our relationships are built. Our analysis is quite simpler now. I want country wise sales. Okay, so pull the country name. Okay, I'm pulling it onto the rows. So there are 6 countries in my data: Australia, Canada, France, Germany, UK, and US. So I have pulled the country names here. I'll simply pull the sales amount here. Right now it is showing that it is 29 million across. Why? Because we have to build the relationships. Let's see what are the relationships that need to be built. Right, so let me go here. Yes, geography key I have to build. So I am building a geography key here. Right, geography, and from geography I am building a geography key. And what about here? We have to build with respect to the customer key. Let me just look at the relationships here. So from the customer, okay, let me put customer to geography. No, we don't have anything from customer to geography. Let me remove this. Customer to internet sales, this is existing. Okay, let me just see now. Let us build the relationship again. Okay, let me go into customer to start with. So in the relationships, I'm looking at customer. Customer to geography, I don't have. Customer to internet sales, there is one. All right. Then, so when I come to internet sales, then we are going into geography. Now we are looking at editing the relationships. Geography to customer. Geography to customer, there is a relationship. Geography key from the customer. I am linking it and from geography to internet sales, I don't have any. So here we are linking it through the geography key. Let me pull out the sales amount to start with. So from geography, the customer is linked here. And when it comes to the internet sales, from geography, if I'm looking at the internet sales, putting a relationship from geography, the internet sales is not linked. From the customer, the internet sales is linked. So let me just quickly remove this as well and add a new connection. The customer key out here, I'm linking it with the customer key out here. Now that I have built the relationship, I come to the customer. Now internet sales. So let me pull the sales amount to start with. Okay. And now that I have brought the sales, okay, now let's look at the relationships per se. So let's drag the country name here. So these are the countries. Then I want to go here. Okay, I'm linking the geography key here between the geography. And in the internet sales, I'm linking the relationship that is present here. Now, what is that I'm trying to look at here? Once I have pulled the country name, I want to look at the sales amount specific to each of the country. So I have got, okay, Australia has around 9 million, United States around 9.3 million, and so on. So these are the numbers that have come to each of the country. Now, what I really want to look at is, if I want to look at it in a graphical form, instead of putting it here, the sales amount I would have carried into the columns. Then it comes purely as a part of the columnar graph like this. And on the column shelf, if I really want to convert it into a percentage rather than a numbers like this, all I can do is I do a right click on it. I have this quick table calculation. So here I can do a running total, difference, percentage of total. So some of them are predefined for us. So I want to take the percentage of total. So suddenly the same thing, if you look at in the x-axis, things are becoming percentage of the total amount. The sales amount will keep changing. So here the label is still showing the numbers, but what we could see is this is shown in terms of percentage, around 32% here, around 31% here, so 30.86, 31.98. So there is a kind of a percentage thing that is simply established for us, right? And you are seeing a small triangle here just next to it, right? Instead of some sales amount, we are also seeing a triangle. That is what is an indication that it is expressed in terms of percentage. So even your axis, you could see across the column, it is showing percentage of the sales amount. Then, if required, I can give a different coloring also, above average versus below average. So how do I do that? Probably we have done it earlier, so let me try writing that piece of code again. We'll write a sales amount, we'll write a rule with respect to the sales amount, wherein we are creating a calculated field, right? So there we simply say above, below. So above average or below average, we'll create it as two distinct stuff. So I'm using a formula called if, right? So I'm using a formula called if. So I want to check if the sum of sales amount. So if the sum of this sales amount is greater than the window average associated with again the sum of sales amount from first to last. From first to last. This is when we talk about saying then I call it above average, else I call it below average. Right? This is what we have done and we have ended it. So yes, let's apply it and I say okay. So there is a new field that got created above, below average. And based on this, whether it is above or below, I'll apply the color. So what I could simply say, I'll drag this into the color. So I could see Australia and United States are being shown as above average, whereas the remaining are being shown as below average. So we are getting a visualization using a horizontal bar chart, which is clearly telling us that some of them are above average and below average. And we have the x-axis very clearly showing it's a percentage of the total amount. Right now, this is looking more and more better. Now, instead of this entire eating up of the space, I want to reduce the space. Now, that is where probably instead of a bar chart, I can look at a heat map. So, I am clicking on the heat map. The whole thing got reduced. From the whole bar, it's only the size that is coming as a part of this heat map. So this labeling should convey the percentage for us. Now we can simply use the kind of a labeling which can do the percentage computation. Based on the percentage, it can show that kind of value. So what I can do, that label, probably whatever is the percentage, 30.86 and all, I can get. So sales amount, I can simply pull from here into the label. I'll create a label for the sales amount. Let me expand it a little bit. I'll create the label. Either I create it in this kind of a format, or I convert it into a percentage. So once I have dragged it, so I have to change it, right? So this is the one, I'm changing it, making it percentage of the total, right? I think this is the one. I am changing it to percentage of total. So suddenly this got established as a part of the percentage of total. So the label is showing not the actual value, but it is showing something in terms of percentage. And a few of them are shown in orange, which are on the lower side, and the others are showing in blue, which is on the higher side. And all I can also do is I can so I can do the sorting if required in the ascending or the descending order. So the United States is at the top, Australia next, and so on. And if required, I can very well change. Okay, right now by default the heat map is showing the squares. Now if required, I can change them to the circles also. So if you look at the marks, right here the different kinds of marks are being shown. I'm clicking. By default it's an automatic, so I can very well change to any one of them. Automatic is looking like rectangles. I can make them bars, lines, whatever, so I'll put a circles. So it's very clearly visible that the blue circles are showing United States and all, which are above average, the other ones are below average. So I can very well use this kind of quick table to really work out in terms of improving my presentation, simplifying my presentation altogether, but still convey the message that is required to be communicated from the data. The same thing goes if I really have to simplify my business rules with some kind of custom calculations. In some cases, probably I'll use another example there where I may have to bring out some of my custom calculation. Because at the end, the objective of any dashboard is represent the data in a small space. Right? It should use the space more and more effectively. So I should not show too much information. Along with, I should not show too little information. I should have a very clear cut plan on what needs to be shown. So in some cases, I may prefer pictures which are more pretty in nature, more clearly visual, whereas in some cases, some managers may prefer exact numbers. Similarly, in some industries, numbers representing the data in terms of numbers is much necessary compared to showing it in a visual way. Now that is where we talk about the cross tabulation. So we just show it as a tabulation. Now this is where I'll talk about using a simple formula called index. So what index does is it does a simple ranking. Depending on the value, it actually provides a rank. So it can restrict our data visualization, or it can provide a much better representation. Sorry, it does not restrict, it actually provides a much quicker representation. Probably you can do it in an ascending order, descending order. So it can really show a much better data visualization. So what you can very well do is we can rank, and probably we can even filter the top 3 ranks or top 5 ranks out of the whole data so that we can understand the flow much better, right? So let's look at it, what we can do from whatever we have done. I'll come back to this same work, right? Now the same sales amount, I'll create one more field from it. which is the rank corresponding to this same amount. So I'll call it probably as a name as rank, right? I'll simply put a name to it called rank, and as a part of the formula I'll simply use the formula called index. Index, as I have already said, it simply ranks the data. Let me simply look at it, apply, I say okay. Now I got the rank out here, right? Rank is already computed. So this because the formula did not give me any error, there is a computation on it. Now here I can very well go to the rank and I drag this rank onto the column. So when I have dragged the rank into the column, right now it is showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this manner. Or probably I drag the rank. Okay, let me pull it back. So this was the original position. So I drag the rank into this. I drag the rank into the column. So right now when I am dragging the rank here, it is showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this, right? And if I am looking, okay, it's better that I represent it as a table now. Okay, let me bring it back. Instead of this kind of a heat map, let me show the representation in a simple table format. So these are the numbers, and so now I have the ranks: rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have the value, I have the rank, and by default it is showing the rank with decimals, right? So what I can very well do is I go to the rank here, and then I'm changing the characteristics of it. So I'm going to the rank here, go to the default properties that are there. Within this we have the formats. So here I come to the number format, and within this again we have number standard, number custom, lot of stuff. So I go to there is an automatic number format. So I go to the number custom number where I reduce the decimals to 0. Now once I do it, I get the ranks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's say I don't want all of them to be displayed. Only the top 3 ranks to be displayed. Right? I don't want all. I want only the top 3 to be displayed. Now simply again the rank from here, pull it into the filter. Do a filter, don't take it from 1 to 6, take it only from 1 to 3. So immediately your data is also updated. Only the top 3 ranks are being shown here. So the filter is really helping you out in terms of simplification, or in terms of selecting only a subset of the entire data. So just by doing some kind of linkages between the data sheets, and then using these kind of quick tables, filters, some kind of quick formulas, etc., you can play around with the data, and you can bring out the presentation in a much more effective manner. All right. So thanks a lot for listening to this session. Thank you very much.